Hi everyone, my name is Leslie Cornejo and I will be teaching you guys the APA ethical principles. So just to get started, I just want to tell you guys what all 5 ethical principles are. It is the beneficence and non-maleficence, the fidelity and responsibility, integrity, justice, and respect for people's rights and dignity. So for beneficence and non-maleficence, the definition is treat people in a way that benefit them, do not cause them suffering, and the whole purpose of the research will benefit society. So this has to do with outweighing the benefits with the costs of any harm done to anyone. And however, any harm or any effects done on the participants need to be undone at the end of the experiment. And then an example of this would be, let's say that the researchers want to see that there is a possible new cancer medication and they want to perform trials. They would first have to see the research done on it and what could be possible side effects that could harm the individual. So this is where we want to see if the medication would outweigh the negative harms done on the participants, and if they feel that there could be more risks that are put on them, then they would not proceed with this. But if they do feel like there will be significant medical advances and they are really close to finding a treatment for cancer, then they would proceed with going with it. And the next one is fidelity and responsibility, and the definition is that it establishes relationships of trust and acceptance of responsibility for professional behavior. So a way that researchers can establish trust is by building rapport between the participant and the researcher, and this also makes sure that researchers are being professional with the relationships that they're building, and because either way there is a power dynamics. And for this one, an example of this or an application to an actual research that could be conducted is, let's say researchers want to do a study on college students who are sexually active. They might not feel comfortable sharing that with someone, but if the researcher approaches in a way that feels trusting to the college students, then they'll feel more open to being honest and transparent with them, and there might not be as much selection bias that is shown in the data that is collected. And then the next one is integrity, and that means to strive to accuracy and to be truthful and honest in one's role as a practitioner, teacher, or researcher. So in this case, it means that there is no fabrication of data or no data is manipulated, and all data is good data for society, even if it contradicts the hypothesis of the research. And an example of this would be that, let's say that I'm a researcher and I conducted a research and my data does not support my hypothesis, and I really want to get published, so then I change the data so that way I make it support my research and my hypothesis that I've done. That would not be following the ethical principles, because that is not having integrity as a researcher. So what I would do is just continue with my report and see if it get publishes, and whether or not it would still be beneficial, because it would be adding to data for that research topic. And then the principle of justice has to do with the way that participants are selected for the research, and it just has to do with making sure that participants are representative of the groups that will also benefit from the research. And the way that we'd want to connect that is just by explaining that if I want to conduct study and it analyzes participants who are college students, then at the end of the study, we want to make sure that they are benefiting them, aside from whatever other sample we are looking at. And the last one we have is respect for people's rights and dignity, and that means that we recognize the people as autonomous agents, and we protect their privacy and their rights, and making sure that we give them consent for the treatment or research conducted. And we want to make sure that all participants are treated confidentially, and we need to understand that some populations may be able to have less autonomous consent. So this would mainly pertain especially to when we're talking about children and prisoners, because they are the most vulnerable groups that we have. And this would be an example of if I was conducting a research on elementary school children and just wanted to take some data on them. That's one-on-one. If any of the children decide to not continue with the participation, then I would respect that, and there would be no punishment for the child. And that concludes the presentation or my little mini lesson, and I hope you guys learned a lot. Good luck on your exam. Thank you.